Hello, my lovely listeners. I'm Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns. Welcome to this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss.
Gorgeous ones, Dr. Lucy here this morning, and I have a brilliant guest who I think will blow your mind. There are not many around, so I'm very honoured to have a low-carb dietitian speaking with us today, and I would love to welcome to the podcast Nicole Moore. Nicole, welcome.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, we are a rare breed. So
I know.
So yeah, it's great to be here today, having a chat with you.
Absolutely. And, and I'm so pleased you're able to come on because you're right. I mean, you know, to quote a low carb pun that's quoted often, you do go against the grain within your industry. And I think for anybody who consults with you, incredibly fortunate to have an open-minded, well-versed low carb dietitian.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, look, it's so important in any sort of field of science and nutrition we have to be on top of what and I don't even think would call it new research these days, low carb and, ketogenic diets. There's so much research out there, Better Health, CSIRO. We have to be, as nutrition and dietitians, we need to be on top of that. And there's so many people looking for that connection point. And it's so disappointing when they'll go in to get some advice about a low carb program and they're sort of put in a box to say, look, that's really bad for you. And let's look at the diet pyramid, which has been around for such a long time. And as I always say to new grads that I speak to is, how is it that you're being taught what I was taught 20 years ago? I mean, surely science is clearly changes. And if we don't, evolve with the new research out there and understand it, then, we aren't doing what we're meant to be doing, which is keeping the public aware and educated on the new options that are out there. And again, I use the word new, but I think, as you would know, that it's not new. There's always new stuff emerging, but it's not new science. I'm so passionate about making sure that my clients are connected with that and that they have, me opening their arms. They're so excited when they come in and say, oh, finally someone that's going to help me on this journey and not shun me away to say it's bad for you. So, yeah, I'm very passionate about it.
I love it. I love it. And tell me, how did you then break away from the herd, and become the unicorn that we're so pleased you are?
Look, I think my journey actually started as as I was studying dietetics, because to be frank, I was, struggling with my own weight loss journey and, following all the things I was taught. I think I always envisioned myself, and I still remember the vision of, I'm in the lounge room, literally running on the treadmill while other friends of mine and dietitians are sitting on the couch, eating, whatever. And I'm there, eating my legumes and my brown rice and, everything was fat free. I remember eating cheese. I don't even know if it was around now, which was 99% fat free. And to be frank, it was like eating plastic.
Yes. I ate
remember
those Kraft
yeah.
99% fat-free singles that were, seriously like a piece of vinyl.
Yeah. I'd eat my vinyl and eat all my fat-free food. And I was struggling still with my weight. I was always hungry, or I call the word hangry, which is hungry and angry. I was constantly suffering from gut issues, and I was so tired all the time. And, I questioned why I felt that way and why I struggled with my weight when I ate less and moved more. And I guess that frustration delved into my own practice, where I still behind the scenes struggled with my weight and felt ashamed as a dietitian that I couldn't shift, the kilos that I wanted. Yeah, I was stripping away calories of every single client that came in, and all these women were struggling. And the more I read and looked at insulin resistance, the more I started to see that there was a background in hormonal issues that were causing this. And I remember, and I won't name where I worked, but a certain hospital in Adelaide, and I remember the chief dietitian there saying in a group meeting, now I just want to let you know that, if you ever hear the word insulin resistance, it's like hen's teeth. It doesn't exist. And, I was flabbergasted as to, I didn't quite understand. And that's how it evolved. I think I feared fat so much that I got to this point where I said, I can't keep living this life, but I've got to understand what's going on. And I said, well, I was always told don't have Atkins diets because they'll kill you. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I need to try a different path. So I thought I'm going to try Atkins, but I feared fat so much. The only fat I was not so concerned about was nuts. So I went, I'm just going to eat nuts for a whole week. And, I said, well, I feel fat anyway. So if I eat fat for a whole week and I get fatter, well, what does it matter? Because I'm not feeling great anyway. And that was my shift. I ate nuts all week. And for the first time ever, my gut wasn't bloated. My energy was better. I wasn't hungry, and I shifted some weight. And that's how my journey started. And, I just started to read and learn and implement it in my own life. And here I am today, in my low carb keto health clinic, working with health coaches and a low carb doctor in this amazing team to support people in this journey. And yeah, that's how it really eventuated. And, I cannot practice, the traditional diet, because for people who are metabolically unwell, and we know so many people are metabolically unwell because of the non-caveman diet that we're now following, that, the traditional pyramid doesn't work. If you've got metabolic health and you can eat, and, clearly we know skinny fat, but, generally the metabolically well, the diet pyramid's fine, but for the metabolically unwell, it's not fine. And unfortunately, more than half of society is metabolically unwell. So that is why I'm where I'm at today, because of my own struggles, I guess. And so there's nothing I don't have a strategy for, because I live it, I breathe it. And I still to this day, have to watch what I do and understand low carb and live it, because I have insulin issues myself. So that's why I'm here today doing what I do.
I love that. I love it. And you're right. I mean, I think for a lot of people who are health practitioners, it's almost like you stumble across low carb in desperation. And it sounds a little bit like you started it similarly to me, which was at the time for me entirely about weight loss. Like, I just thought, oh my God, I've got to do, I'll give it a go, the last hurrah. And it wasn't until that beautiful light bulb moment of realizing that you don't have to eat vinyl. You don't have to have steak that is so lean it tastes like leather, that you can actually have real, amazing, delicious, incredible food that keeps you full.
Absolutely. I think I always say to my clients that come in is like, when they finish the consult, they go, wow, who doesn't like this food? And I said, who doesn't like, having salmon and, steak with a little bit of fat cooked in butter, with broccolini covered in almonds and, olive oil. And I remember a client saying to me, she was sitting next to someone and they said, you look amazing. You look so well and you've lost so much weight. And what sort of diet are you on? And, the client just pointed to a plate and she had a, rack of ribs and a big side of broccolini, which she put some butter on. And that person looked at it and said, well, what sort of diet is that? Like, that can't be a diet.
Yeah.
Because the concept is we should be eating leather and vinyl and eating no fat and eating point cookies and shakes. And, because it isn't a diet, it's just, eating really good food that doesn't stimulate and worsen insulin and blood glucose. So, she was like, yeah, this is my diet, we'll call it. And, her friend was like, that's just crazy. And, the other thing I think I always hear people say is, they come in and they go, Nicole, I feel really guilty. And I'm like, why? And they go, because I'm not hungry and I'm not craving, but I'm losing weight. It's very weird. And, I go, because, the magic happens, when you start low carb, suddenly you're not driven by cravings and hunger. You realize that there's a hormonal chaos going on in your body, and that when you calm that with a low carbohydrate approach, suddenly food isn't an obsession. And it's not something I have to teach out of people. It's very, very natural. And I remember spending so much of my practice trying to teach people to delay their hunger and cravings. Go watch the birds, go wash your hands, take some breaths. And we knew it never would work. And they'd come back and go, well, I tried all that, Nicole, and I still ate the block of chocolate and the 4 slices of bread with butter because I was starving. It's just beautiful to see how people just naturally flow into, and I call it always caveman, when you lived in a cave, what ran past that cave, and it wasn't a bowl of porridge,
it was, absolutely.
It was an animal. So yeah, it's a natural eating process really. And, it's so nice to see people just naturally benefit from eating low carb for sure.
Oh, I totally love that. And I think I said in a podcast not that long ago, you know, as an ex points counter, you know, I knew the points of everything. And there were days where I'd run out of points and the only option I had was to go to bed. It was like, and so you'd go to bed and it's like, who lives like that? Like, that's not a life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing I love is that sometimes I completely relate to your clients saying they feel a bit guilty, because I often feel like I'm eating restaurant food. You know, restaurant food used to be sort of this special food that you'd have and you might have some creamy something or other with it. And here I am eating restaurant food every day. Maybe not necessarily plated up like restaurant food.
Yeah, certainly not in my house.
No. I'm definitely no MasterChef contender. And in fact, we're often talking about our hashtag, which is hashtag ugly food. Just to counter the idea that your food has to be beautifully presented in order to be delicious and nutritious.
Absolutely.
So, Nicole, the type of people that you work with, who do you work with mainly?
In terms of clients, I guess
Yes.
we see, look, a lot of people who have been struggling with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, just a lot of chronic disease. They come in and they're that metabolic bundle, I call it. They come in and they've had it for years. Their blood sugars are going up. But the doctors often, if they're not in that low carb space, go, no, look, it's going up, but it's not, it's on the high end, but it's okay. And you can see they're
not there yet.
You're not there yet, so we'll wait a little bit longer. They're on the cusp or they're in the cusp. So we get people who've struggled with their weight. I mean, that's the big one, right? They come in and they've got guilt and they have shame and they're binging and they're struggling with cravings. They feel awful. They've got gut problems. So they've got this metabolic bundle of health conditions coming in, and they've had enough, and they've searched out for us at Low Carb Keto Health because, as I'm sure they're looking for that different door, because why keep opening the same door if it's not working for you? So they come in desperation and say, I'm done and dusted with the whole points, and I'm done with, counting calories, and I've done it all. And, they're sitting there with BMIs of 30 plus, really uncomfortable with all this inflammation, whether it's in their skin, in their gut, they're getting headaches, they're sluggish, they're tired, they can't drop weight, their blood sugars are elevated, and they're just in desperate moments of saying, please help me. And, I guess they have that moment when they come in where I go, you know what, this isn't your fault. This is about insulin and insulin resistance, and we're going to help you reverse that and make you feel well. And literally within 2 weeks, they come back going, why didn't someone tell me about this, 10 years ago? People with type 2 diabetes coming in going, I cannot believe my blood sugars have dropped 2 millimoles. I've gone from 8 to 6. I've never been able to do that in the last 10 years. And, it's a no-brainer for us low carb specialists that we know that's going to happen. This is why we started Low Carb Keto Health, is to give people opportunity to search for a team that supports them. And we're there to really help people who are ready for that journey and, to dive in and be taught how it should be and make sure there's medical support, because we know how important that is. And for me to be able to work with, medical teams like yourself and Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith, who will be also presenting at your roadshow, it's so amazing. And as you guys, to be able to work with dietitians that actually are going to support your message is so important, and health coaches. So that's the people that come through the door. And, we also get migraine sufferers. We know people with epilepsy and seizures, people coming in to say, we want this nutritional support and medical support because they see it working. Gut, IBS, diverticulitis, inflamed guts, where people are desperately struggling with chronic diarrhea for years. It's impacted their life to the point they can't work. And they come in and know within 4 weeks, the inflammation in the body starts to drop, and they cannot believe they have their life back in 4 weeks. So, these are the stories that myself and Dr. Laureen Lawless-Smith walk past in the hallway and high-five each other, because we get so excited when someone comes in after 4 weeks and they feel well. So it's those unwell people that come in and, we see the benefit. So that's the clientele that come through our door, and we just love the stories we see every day of improvement in inflammation and even things that people go, well, I came into weight loss, but I've just got to tell you, the pain in my fingers has gone, or, I'm pooping, too much information. I had a client yesterday, I'm giving you too much information, but my God, my poop is so good. So it's, these are our amazing clients that come in and the stories we get every day.
Yes, and I love it because I can hear the excitement in your voice, and it really does revolutionize a practice when you see success. And for our listeners, I'm using air quotes because for a lot of people, their mind is around success being purely tied to weight loss. And it's actually, we need to do a little mind shift. It's not about weight loss as the sole goal. Weight loss is like a happy side effect of changing what you eat, and then all the other things improve as well. So Nicole, you're speaking at Low Carb Adelaide, which I'm very excited about, which is April 29. And can you give us a brief intro as to what you're going to be sharing with the audience?
Sure. Well, I like all things to be practical. I think, there's a lot of science out there, and at the end of the day, it's what the heck do I eat? So I'm going to, hopefully give people an amazing low carb toolbox. I'll probably do a little bit of a refresher on macronutrients because everyone's always like, what's macronutrients? I'm going to make this so practical. It's about, navigating food labels, working out what products are going to work for you. I'm going to talk about doing a low carb pantry and fridge makeover and giving you some tips and hints about that. Navigating supermarkets, I think that's really important to understand because all of this is how we get that low carb food in our life. So I want to go through, aisles and shopping lists, supermarket efficiency, I think is important, and how to avoid having to cook twice. That's that fear of everyone going, oh, Nicole, the biggest problem I have is I've got this child that wants this and that person that wants that. And as a mum that works full time, that has 2 kids, a husband who's Sri Lankan, I've got my parents-in-law who are living with me. One's vegetarian, one doesn't eat beef. My daughter's middle low carb, my son's keto. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So I'm going to bring all of the tools so you don't have to cook 10 meals in an evening and look about how we can be efficient in the kitchen, how we can eat the same as the whole family and still be low carb. I'm going to do a little bit about school lunch boxes if I can fit it into my time. I think that's really interesting to just visualize how we can do this for kids and give them flexibility, but still not give them the, high carb lunch boxes that they're getting. And my last one, and I won't delve too much because I want it to be intriguing, but I'm going to do food mood boards. And it's a little bit about menu planning and how I do it because I show my clients how I do this food mood planning and they love it. So I'm going to sort of finish off with that. And if I can give people a practical toolbox where they can walk out and go, okay, there's one thing there or 10 things there that are going to make my low carb life doable because this is a life. This isn't a diet. This isn't something you do for 3 weeks. This is life and we can live it. Eating out, eating with the family, how do we manage, social events? So I'm going to try and package all that in my time to give a low carb toolbox to everyone.
Oh, it's brilliant. I love it. And Adelaideans, you are in for a treat. And one of the things that is that we're providing at the Low Carb Road Show is a goodie bag. And in the goodie bag is a delegate's workbook. So every speaker will have a little bio, but place for people to take notes. So when you leave the Low Carb Road Show, you'll have a workbook full of practical ideas that you can refer back to because we all know that sometimes you go to these things and then you forget what was said or you can't find your notes or you wrote on a bit of paper. And so you'll actually go back with a really practical booklet full of all the speakers' information and yours sounds brilliant.
Excellent. Sounds awesome.
Awesome. Well, lovely listeners, thank you so much, Nicole. That was brilliant. I'm so excited. If you're wanting to purchase tickets to the Low Carb Road Show, you can just go to our website, all the W's, lowcarbroadshow.com, and click on Adelaide if you're in Adelaide, or if you want to travel to Adelaide and come and hear Nicole and her fantastic talk. Gorgeous ones, have a beautiful day. And Nicole, once again, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks so much for having me. And, I'll do a little plug and say, if you guys want to, get some support from me, because I know we're a rare breed, is to visit me at lowcarbketohealth.com.au. I'm happy if you flick me an email, and all I want to do, as we all do, is just help everyone out there live this life and be healthy and be our age, Lucy, and not have all these health problems that so many people have. So
absolutely. And again, Adelaideans, Low Carb Keto Health, it's a wonderful clinic. I know Laureen very well. She's a gorgeous doctor. Nicole is a fabulous dietitian. They have Jody as a health coach. They're incredibly supportive, beautiful team. So, if you are looking for in-person support in Adelaide, definitely go check them out, Low Carb Keto Health.
So, my lovely listeners, that ends this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
And I'm Dr. Mary Barson. We're from Real Life Medicine. To contact us, please visit rlmedicine.com.
And until next time,
Thanks for listening.
The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.